Solomon Show, oh, Solomon Show, Solomon Show, oh, oh. Solomon Show, Solomon Show, oh, Solomon Show, oh, oh, oh.
Welcome to the Solo Monk Show. This is episode 37, I believe. I might have lost count. I don't do these very often because I don't really like talking about myself. This has been going on since 2018, the Solo Monk Show, where I tried to get better at talking directly to people instead of creating a crap ton of art and kind of hiding behind all that. Just to kind of get in the habit of being able to articulate in conversation what I'm working on. Because I spend so much time on the inside, going back and forth with the interior monologue. Because as far as I know, there's no other way to make art aside from just sitting in a room alone and making it like I'm doing right now. And because you're alone, you have a long time to think about things. And so sometimes it feels like I'm information dumping on people, but I don't mean to be, It's just the way my brain works, or it's how I spend my time, really. It's not so much the way my brain works, it's how I spend my time. Spending alone drawing, illustrating, working on illustrations or animation. It definitely gives me more time to consume information, especially auditory, so I can listen to long form interviews. And since I don't really have anyone else to talk to, most of my energy goes into ruminating. Sometimes my speech seems a little atonal, because I don't know if it's this way for you, but personally, when I'm ruminating, I'm not really trying to be dramatic about whatever I'm thinking about. Kind of speaking very directly with myself. The interior monologue is pretty similar to this. Maybe a little more certain than my natural voice. So I have a weird hypervigilance towards being inauthentic. It's hard for me to perform, present myself as this or that, or because I'm in this little womb state all the time from drawing. It's made me asocial, and now it's making me think back to when I was a teenager, a kid. Was I asocial first, or did I get into art and become asocial? Either way, I don't feel bad about it, like I'm missing out, but it's something to think about. Because I do feel heavy moments of clarity that you can't really find in a workplace. So the stress of being an independent freelance artist, you're getting rewarded spiritually, let's say that. Because the money isn't always there. But you have all this time to ruminate. And that can bring you a little peace in a world that kind of only wants to go south, and not in a good way. The Alabamification of the United States. It's a real thing, and it's a wild thing. But I don't know what we can do, Try something, Try to communicate, try to share, try to teach, try to build, try to help directly. Commit to helping people in your community as a weekly ritual to the absolution of, what's happening, I guess. You got to try something. I have. I've lost my ass financially, and I don't know, kind of been a loser most of my life from trying to reach out when I didn't have any resources for myself. But I don't consider it losing or being a loser, trying something and failing and losing a bunch of money. What would be weird is to try to be really selfish, and that's the way you lose your ass. That's the capitalist way, though, I guess. So it's been hard to stay creative consistently when the money's not always there. But I consider it a spiritual ritual at this point that getting to some kind of flow state. You do it over and over again, committed to it no matter what's happening in your life. And it's kind of like a meditative state. If you could not judge me for a moment, talking in some goofy language, but this is the closest explanation to what I've heard, that comes to what it actually feels like or what it might amount to, drawing every day and just committed to being creative at all times, is that there's this unified field of consciousness that we kind of pull a lot of symbolism from, things that kind of stir us deeply over, generations, over longest form of time. There's something in us or whatever. There's like a unified field of symbolism, a plane of symbolism. And above that is kind of like something deeper. And it feels like dipping your toe in that. It's where you're not in your body anymore. You don't feel like you're in your body, and you're pulling all these images and this stuff from some other place. And it becomes effortless. It's not really, like when you think about people who are really, really creative, it's not so much that they're creative. It's just they have access to a deeper knowledge of themselves, something beyond neurotic, whatever, And I don't think it's that exclusionary. What is exclusionary is the time focused to like meditative states or flow states or being creative, or not everybody has time, We like to think that capitalism makes us super free, but it doesn't. Production rate for a dollar that keeps losing its worth, rent prices going up, wages staying underneath the increase in housing costs, living costs, You got people who work 40 hours a week living in their car. That's not sustainable any kind of way. We're constantly trying to outsource our creative jobs, leaving, just basically dead jobs for human beings, while we cut out all social programs, organizing in public places, freedoms of speech. It's just according what it is, Sometimes conservatives get slapped with it, but most of the time leftists get slapped with it. There'll be a time where liberals win some stuff and have some symbolic wins against conservatives, and then it swings back real hard, and it's like 10 years of just hyper-conservatism. That's just the way capitalism goes. The growth of the market always digs into the poor. You can't have infinite profits. It's like a cancer. It kills the body. Sometimes you have to have losing years. There's no way to have a healthy production rate and supply chain that doesn't work with human beings and natural resources, because it's just magical thought. Not only that, most of what we produce doesn't even get consumed. It gets wasted. So it doesn't make any sense, and it's harmful to us, and everybody knows it. But there's so much imaginary money to be made. As long as we respect speculative wealth and shareholders, we'll always be killing ourselves. And just the production rate's bad for people. And it's hard for me to talk about it because I'm a freelance artist. I work 24 hours a day, which is why I'm recording a podcast while working on illustrations and background animation pieces. Is that, the production rate's insane. We all got to be on 24 hours a day. And we can't make any mistakes because we live in a punitive society where if you mess up, you're a failure and you should be culturally punished. You're like internalized our Calvinist beginnings and the hellfire brimstone bullshit. But now it's over identity issues, because representation in the death cult culture is kind of like the tip top of what you can get out of everything. So it matters, It doesn't matter if trans rights gets worse for trans folk as long as ABC has a TV show about it. Or women's rights can be, stripped under hyper liberal feminist icons, even with their hands on the gears. Because liberalism is about putting etiquette around the violence committed to liberal markets and the freedom of liberal markets. There's got to be a lot of rules to kind of mask the violence necessary for freedom of markets. But getting to the flow state, it feels like you get to some kind of interior source of like intent, like a biological, social, spiritual intent. And under the demands of current market or whatever, it sometimes feel like you're completely dispossessed of like even, the will to live. I mean, like, what is the point? If you have to work all the time to own nothing and be in hostile spaces where you have to pay thousands of dollars a month to occupy the space, and you could be kicked out on your ass at any moment. And then, because of the way culture is, once the market that's just absolutely predatory loses use of you or whatever, like our media structure turns you into a demon or something because you have to go piss in the street and live in the park or something. It's a scary culture, and we try to normalize all the ridiculous shit and the demands of living here. Just occupying space, just have to tell ourselves how much of a loser we are every day for not being able to do more, not be able to look like Kim Kardashian. We can all be a billionaire. Just full on spiritual dispossession. If you don't own your time, if you don't own the space that you occupy, if you don't even own the symbols that help you identify and simulate biological and social imperatives, and you're just consuming, it makes complete sense that most people are mentally ill or having some kind of mental illness or symptoms of a mental illness. Like, everyone's literally dispossessed of all meaning, space, and time. That's what capitalism does. It's like full dispossession. For the symbol to hold that much weight, billions of people have to believe in it and fear it, Supercharge the symbol of capital and its meaning. And the meaning of infinite growth, speculative wealth, vertical symbols, and a vertical culture where we can't assign any meaning to any of it. It's a strange thing. So that's why I like making stuff. It's the only way I can kind of gain back my ability to own my own space and my own time, assigning a meaning, aesthetics, arranging, thinking, coming to conclusions, organizing within my own aesthetics, building symbol sets, understanding what's being signified and observation, and helps with media comprehension, helps with understanding that ideas are like kind of like shapes, and that there's a structure behind every idea for it to work or whatever. That things can't be like contradictory, amorphous, phasing. And if it is that way, then it's magical thought. It's bending the laws of where we live. It's masking something. It's masking what it is, which is a lot of things, honestly. A lot of things can be categorized in that way. What's scary is when people really believe in the mask that they worship. It scares the shit out of me. You can't believe the lies you tell yourself. You have to at least be conscious. So even like it just seems like sometimes the malicious are more virtuous, at least, to be aware that they're a part of some kind of destruction, a lie, a mask, because the unaware are just completely dispossessed. I guess I've known a lot of folks like that over the years, but I've always hoped that everybody would wake up at some point. Because you spend your whole life trying to figure out how to die. And how to die is like how you spend your time. Because death can't be that scary if you have no gratitude for life. If you've never experienced grace, it's hard to be scared of death. So you have to learn how to die to really live well. And you have to experience loss to be able to assign meaning to it, object of permanence. Things will be here once we're gone. And that informs how you live. And people that don't think like that, they think, like solipsistic, it's hard for them to really ever individuate, I guess, in the way that they need to spiritually. And I don't know, some say maybe you shouldn't really want to understand the structures that we swim through, that your life would be a lot happier, and maybe there's meaning in just kind of trying to play the game that's kind of been assigned for you to play. But it seems great moments of clarity come at a cost, and that almost every great moment of clarity you have to die, or get closer to death, understand death a little more. And then when the big final D comes through, you can process it a little easier. You know, you won't die like a crying little baby because you'd spent some time, you know, with the idea, or at least caring about people. Because I mean, I guess that's where a lot of the thoughts come from. That's where solidarity comes from, understanding everybody's pain and being committed to recognizing everyone's suffering so that way you can exist in the same roof. Under the same roof is truth, because truth can't exist where suffering can't speak. I think I said that correctly. Yeah. Suffering has to be able to speak for truth to exist. And so, I mean, that's the point of living a principled life, I would say. I mean, I'm not super preachy about it, but I can explain my own thoughts on it. And why, you know, committing your whole life to being an artist, that's okay. You know, even if society says, hey, you're a loser because you're poor, it's fine. You know, you could be poor, you could be dispossessed and poor, and you can be filthy rich and be dispossessed of time and meaning and understanding of the space you occupy. And I guess it's your choice. It's however you want it to go down. You get to, especially if you're a magical thinker, you can kind of just do whatever, you can assign whatever meaning you need to it. At that point, though, I believe you're participating in a little bit of the violence it takes to have uniform, hegemonic culture, global market, where everything gets vacuumed up and every labor market has to be destroyed and restructured every 5 to 10 years. So that way you can keep labor cheap. I know that the path beyond your own suffering is considering other life, you know, taking care of a dog, taking care of a neighbor, taking care of your grandmother, you know, helping someone that can't really give you anything back, especially if they need it. It just pulls you out of your own suffering. I'm working on a parallax right now, and you basically do backgrounds, images of backgrounds. You make up fake backgrounds or whatever you want to do. But you make them at varying lengths, and then you have them scroll across the camera at different speeds, and it creates the illusion of distance in the background. And you can make it as advanced as you want to. I like to make simple, quick ones, practice different color schemes. I try to make one once a week. This is a part of the ritual, part of the, you know, wake up every day, do an illustration, do a drawing time lapse, do a Bowl of Loopies performance where I sit down and write a couple chord progressions, and then I do like a little 2 or 3 minute solo just off the top of my head, make everything up, try to finish it in under 20 minutes or so. I try not to think about it too much. I don't want to get neurotic about it. It's just about the daily ritual of just trying to make something really quick and just do it every day as long as you can. And I've made probably about 500 of them. And pretty much every day where I don't have to work on some project outside the house, I do one. And it keeps me really creative, and it keeps me thinking in different ways of being creative. Along with illustration, I don't think too much about it. I just start working on it and then, you know, push it out. Put it on the Patreon, and then I work on an animation every day, a little bit of an animation. And then whatever else I have to do in the day. Work on commissions. You know. Really, there's not a lot of social interaction going on as being a working artist. I wake up early every morning. I go to sleep early because I have to do this really long, arduous thing every day. And it drains a lot of my batteries, I guess, my social batteries. It gets to where it's like kind of hard to communicate with people. And I wouldn't say that I'm happier because I spend so much time alone, but it just gives me so much time to figure stuff out, you know. I have kind of the type of brain that constantly wants to get a little better at everything that I do, and because I just have a performance thing with people. I feel like to be around people, I have to be good at what I do, because as an artist, people kind of don't really consider what you do labor, even if it takes you, 80 hours a week to do it. Everybody thinks nobody should make any money doing anything creative, no matter how much time it takes to do it. They just want to give it to AI, and then everybody can just type out bullshit, and it just comes up on a frictionless plane where no one has to know how to do anything. No one has to invest time, because To be good at anything, you have to invest a shit ton of time. That's your life. You pay for every skill with your life. Every fucking minute you spend on it. That's who you are. That's what you do. No one can take that away from you. Action is identity. You don't download it from culture. We just have patterns that repeat themselves. Little nature, little nurture. But we have these biological and social imperatives in us. And whenever we lean one way, our shadow is presented in a different way. And I kind of feel like the light source is a unified field of consciousness, and how we contort ourselves through our actions, and how we choose to move, and how we choose to act becomes who we are. And that does create limitations, but it also creates some kind of agency. I don't know if I believe in free will, but there is some kind of agency in how you handle dispossession under capitalism, and how you can find ways through your life to assign meaning to it. Be creative every day. Be committed. Be principled. Be the loving kindness you needed when you were a kid, and help people just like you've always needed help. Steeping in your helplessness doesn't quite hit after you get to a certain age. And I am definitely, I'm past 35 now, so I'm like kind of adult, even though I don't feel like one. Because I've been an artist and a musician and worked in kitchens and done landscaping and worked for websites, writing. I've done all kinds of stuff, but maybe because my life has been so creative, I feel just disconnected from my body and my time. I'm in a hyperspace at all times or something. Because even when I was doing manual labor and earning money from other people and working 80 hours to earn a paycheck, there was still all this creative time, band time, music time, art time around it, and all that time was spent to get to those times. So in my head, there's like this hyperspace of building up to moments where the time slows down, and I can get back to the big source, the big light, creativity, the ever conscious. Art can do that, music can do that. Building your own skills, building your own businesses, helping people, creating co-ops, supporting unions. We share a material world, and we share a symbolic plane, and all value is social value, because all this stuff that comes out of me comes from somewhere else. I couldn't handle the weight of having to think of all of it. I mean, if you look at my production rate, how much stuff I've made since 2019, I would have a panic attack trying to think of all of it. But because I do it every day as ritual, it builds something up. It's pulling from somewhere. It ain't me. So there has to be some kind of higher plane that's outside of the dispossession of capitalism. And it gives meaning to my life. I'm not my body or my mind. I'm a third thing. And that's like clarity, creative clarity, sought and captured through daily ritual.